Vescovi University, Poland, and the University of Romania. From this university research area is in wireless sensor network. He authored 4 books and edited 20 books and more than 300 technical articles, including top cited journals and conferences, Globecom, and many more. He initiated the research field of blockchain technology adaptation in various verticals in the year 2017. His agenda scholar and focus 60-50 research in blockchain technology, wireless network, computing, smart value, and he is a member of technical committees on Internet of Communication Society. Recently, Sudeep sir has been awarded cash prize of rupees 50,000 for publishing papers with 5+ impact factor and publication of books with Springer, IIT, and CRC Press under the Faculty of Award and Initiative Scheme with Nirma University for the year 2019-2020. He has been awarded the Best Research Paper Award from IEEE IWCMC 2021, IEEE IAAC, and IEEE ICC 2019, and Springer ICR IC 2009. He has won Dr. K.M. Wong Annual Best Paper Prize, worth rupees $750 for 2021, and sponsored by elsewhere. He has served many international conferences as a member of the organizing committee, such as the Publication Chair for 2020, ICCIC 2020, and WebMob 2019, and General Chair for IC4 2019, 2020, 2021, 2020. He is also serving the editorial board of Comcom elsewhere, Valley Publication, Cyber Security Applications elsewhere, and Journal of Intersciences, JCC and JCS. He is also lending the ST Research Laboratory, where group members were working on the latest cutting-edge technology. So today, Sudeep sir will deliver a presentation on recent trends in blockchain technology. So I in this FDP program, and I request you, sir, to kindly.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I believe that my voice is audible to all of you. There is no echo at all. Anyone just can confirm?
Sir.
Okay, let me just share my screen. And I believe that my screen is visible to all of you. There is no problem at all. And
yes, sir, visible.
Okay, okay. If I am changing the slides, the same is reflected at your end. So yes, once again, good. Yeah. Let me open the pointer. So first of all, good afternoon to all of you. And I personally remain thankful to the Professor Chaturvedi Saab and the entire team of IIMT University for inviting me to share my view related to recent trends in blockchain technology. I personally believe as a teacher that it is our duty as an academician that how we are going to contribute to the society or how we are going to help the society in order to frame out some good solutions, or at least just to reduce the burden of the society by providing some kind of technical solutions which will help the citizens in order to ease their life, daily life. So let me just move on to, so before moving to the technical part, let me just tell you something about my research group, very brief. So here in Nirma University, we are working on very cutting edge technologies. It starts from blockchain technology and then sensors network, smart grid communication, IoT. So we do have the options for your students also, that if some of your BTech and MTech student, they want to join our research lab as a summer and winter intern, then we have the options available, and we will tell them and we'll provide them all kind of certificates and all. So if any one of you or your student want to associate with us in our laboratory, then all are welcome. And see, when it comes to exploring a particular technology like cryptography and network security, okay. So this cryptography and network security is a very, I can say, a streamlined subject, okay, where you are having standard textbooks available and you can start from the first chapter and move up to the last chapter. But this is not the case with the blockchain technology. Why? Because this blockchain technology is a very catchy technology, very upcoming technology. So considering this need, we have signed the MOU with Spinger Nature in 2019, and we come up with this textbook. It's a textbook basically. This entire textbook is divided into 14 chapters, and each chapter is having 4 to 5 implementation, and we have already included all the technical stuffs, all the codes in it. So this is the textbook that we have contributed in the area of blockchain technology. Now, if you consider the rest of the thing, we have already contributed some of the edited book in the area of blockchain technology. Now, moving to the article side, moving to the research side, as I have already told to you that in our research lab, approximately 40 to 45 students are working, including BTech, MTech, and PhD students. I personally believe that BTech students are having more spark when it comes to implementing a particular solution or a particular technology. So with their potential, we have contributed various literature only in the area of blockchain, that too in IEEE transactions. So now, just a minute.
मैं हाँ डायग्राम ऐड करना, वो मैं बना के उनको भेज दूंगा मैडम को। किसको भेजोगे? मैडम को, मैडम उसमें ऐड करेगी, मैडम आपको मेल करेगी फाइनल। हाँ, कितना टाइम लगेगा? 1 घंटा मैडम मिनिमम। मतलब वो डायग्राम मैंने नीलेश को दिया है, नीलेश बना रहा है, लेकिन वो डायग्राम पूरा समरी होगा उसका कंप्लीट, मतलब पूरे प्रोजेक्ट का समरी। उनका डायरेक्टर के साथ मीटिंग है। कितने बजे मीटिंग है? वो मेरा 2 घंटा पहले फोन आया था, आफ्टरनून बोला तो 3 बजे तक दे दें उनको, 2:45 तक दे दें। मैं नीलेश को बोलता हूँ, मैं बोलता हूँ। मतलब कितना टाइम लगेगा? मैं बोलता हूँ।
Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Sorry for the interruption. So let me just share my screen again. I believe that my screen is visible to all of you. Anyone can reply, please.
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Thank you very much. Let me just open the pointer also. So these are the articles that we have contributed in the area of blockchain technology. So just to now, before starting the technical discussion, let me share the disclaimer statement with all of you. I personally believe that if you want to explore any particular technology, then every individual is having their own viewpoint. Okay. So don't consider my discussion that I'm going to share with all of you in the next 45 to 50 minutes as a standard guideline, because every individual is having their own uh, viewpoint. So I want to give the due credit to all the researchers, those who have contributed in this particular area, in the area of blockchain technology. So now this entire presentation I have divided into three segments. In the first part, I'm going to discuss about the blockchain technology. I'm not directly jumping to the blockchain. Let me first set the stage for the blockchain, and then we will discuss about the role of consensus, why there is a hype of blockchain technology, why industries nowadays, every industries are nowadays thinking of adopting the blockchain in the different verticals of industry 5.0. And at the last, I will tell you about the Indian context, how the government of India, what kind of work government of India has already carried out in terms of adopting the blockchain in the different verticals. So like Niti Aayog and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, they have already shared their draft vision document of adopting the blockchain in different verticals. So this is about the outline. Now let me just move on to the technical part. What exactly the meaning of blockchain technology? But let me just first set the stage for the blockchain technology. So let's say I pose a question in front of all of you. We need to find out a traditional way of document sharing. And let's say we are not in the present era, we are in the era of 90s, okay? So in the era of 90s, if she want to share one of the Microsoft document to one of our friend, then she may be having multiple options are available in the era of 90s. I'm not considering the present era. So let's say we consider a very easiest mechanism where she have drafted an email and make that Microsoft Word document as an attachment to that email and send the same to her friend. Now, what problem is there in this traditional way of document sharing? Whatever changes the recipient is going to made, the same is not going to be reflected to the sender. So that means simultaneous update of the document is not practically possible in this way. That's the way I put a big cross mark here in the era of 90s. So that means that this is not the way that we are looking for. What is the question? Question is, I want to find out the traditional way of document sharing between the two individuals or the multi-parties. So now, considering this same question, the another alternative is everyone is nowadays using Google Doc. Okay. So let's say as a teacher, if I want to collect the certain information about the student, about their roll number, their email ID, and certain other information, then I may collect, and at any instant of time, I can visualize how many have filled up the data, at how many end the data entering is remaining. So like that, the problem remains same. She want to share the Microsoft document to one of her friend. Instead of sharing it, she prepared a Google Doc and shared to one of her friend. Now, in this way, one of the problem that we encountered in our previous PPT is rectified, that both the user can simultaneously. नहीं बताओ जी 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 Now, in this way, one of the problem is rectified, that simultaneous update of the document is rectified. But if I consider two questions in front of you, first one is the storage and second one is the access capability. So from the storage point of view, this Google Doc is what? It's a centralized system from the storage point of view. From the access point of view, this Google Doc is is decentralized basically. So now my next question comes, if Google Doc I am going to use for the document sharing, then what is the harm in using the Google Doc? So the first one is because as far as storage is going to concern, it's a centralized system. So in case of centralized system, you are having a single point of contact. Okay. So if you are having single point of contact, then in that particular case, dependability is more. So let's say consider some practical realistic situation. If some crash fault will occur or some network failure will occur, then forget about editing the document at the end of the recipient, even though recipient is not in a position to open the document. If I add more complexity, let's say if bandwidth remains to be an issue, then also the recipient is not in a position to open that particular document. So that's the way I put a big cross mark here that this is not the way that I am looking for. That's the way I put a big cross mark here. So this is not the traditional way of document sharing that we are looking for. Now, still we have not yet found the answer to our question that what is the best way of document sharing? What is the best traditional way of document sharing? Now, before coming to the answer of this question, let me share three representation of networks, the method that we are going to use to frame out the network. So it is just like that. If you are having 50 nodes, okay, and you want to connect these 50 nodes, then one of the easiest way is you frame out a kind of a central single point of contact and through which all the nodes are connected. So this is a centralized approach that we have already discussed, and the problem pertaining to that we have already discussed. Now coming to the decentralized approach, in case of decentralized approach, instead of having the single point of contact, I am having the multiple point of contact. So now my next question comes, if I am having the multiple point of contacts in my network, then what are the benefits that I'm going to achieve? So benefit like, let's say, if you see my cursor, because of some crash fault, because of some network failure, I'm not getting any data from this segment of the network, then no need to worry about it. Why? Because we are getting the data at regular interval of time from the other point of contact. So that means here the dependency is not much in case of decentralized system. Now the third one is the distributed system. In case of distributed system, all the nodes are connected to all the remaining nodes. It is just like that. In the computer network, we are having one topic that we can call it as a peer-to-peer network. So here, in case of distributed mechanism, everyone is collectively executing their own intended functionalities. So this is three kind of representation. If I talk about in terms of the decentralization, then in case of decentralization, I can say that primarily in my subsequent discussion, I am going to focus more on the decentralization. So when it comes to the example, your blockchain is nothing but one of the example of decentralization where you are having multi-party scenario, and your intranet, internet, World Wide and email, all these are working on the principle of distributed mechanism. So now, if you remember, we have started our discussion by considering one question that what is the traditional way of document sharing, and yet we have not find out the solution or answer to this question. I again pose the same question, what is the best mechanism to share the document between the in a multi-party scenario? So one of the possible solution could be that she want to share one Microsoft document to one of her friend, problem remains same. Now if I say that this internet is going to maintain the consistency in this particular network. Now why the consistency is so important? What is the meaning of consistency here? Consistency means, let's say I have transferred or I have accommodated one transaction. This information transaction is going to be reflected in the ledger maintained by each and every node, because consistency is directly proportional to the lifespan of a particular network. So if I made internet itself responsible in order to maintain the consistency in this particular possible solution, This is also not a viable solution that we are looking for. That's the way I put big cross mark here also. Why? Because all of you agree with me that internet is an open channel. So what is the meaning of open channel here? That it open the door for all the intruder. Hey, come and perform some kind of malicious activities. No, it is up to what kind of access policies you are having, whether you are using Kerberos, Iris, or biometric or digital signature based access policies. So that's the way I can say that this is not the solution that we are looking for. No, what is the solution that we are looking for? We are not going to replace the internet. We are going to frame out the network in such a way. Problem remains same, that we want to share one Microsoft document to one of our friends. Now, in this particular network, all the nodes are connected to all the remaining nodes. So that means it's a peer-to-peer network. Okay. And instead of maintaining the centralized database, we are going to maintain the decentralized database. Now, who is going to maintain the consistency here? This decentralized database itself responsible in order to maintain the information consistency. And we are not going to replace the internet. Why? Because if two nodes want to communicate with each other, then there has to be some kind of medium through which they are going to communicate, whether it is a Zigbee or Bluetooth, any kind of communication you can use. So this is what this kind of representation of sharing the information between the two individual or more than two individual, we can call it as a blockchain technology. So that means blockchain is not a centralized database, as we have noticed in the case of Google Doc. So blockchain is a decentralized database, and this decentralized database itself responsible in order to maintain the information consistency. Now, coming to the scientific definition of blockchain, forget about what is mentioned in the PPT. Let me take a very classical example. So in a class, I as a teacher I identified 4 students, and I identified and I observed that they do not want to take part in the placement activity. They do not want to go for GRE because they do not want to go for further studies. When I as a teacher inquire, then they say that we want to become entrepreneur. That's the way, we do not want to take part in the placement or higher study. Then I feel happy. Then I told them, then what is the problem? They say that we know that we 4 friends, we are technically very competent, but we do not have trust on each other. Now, believe me, if the 4 individuals and they are not having trust on each other, then it is going to be a big question mark on the success of that joint venture. So that definitely they need a kind of a technology which will help them in order to establish the trust among themselves. So now coming back to the blockchain, how blockchain is going to help them. So blockchain is a decentralized computation and information sharing platform which enable multiple authoritative domains, like in our example, 4 friends who do not have trust on each other, but still they want to cooperate, collaborate, and coordinate. For what purpose? Because they want to start their own joint venture. Or in a generic way, we can say that because they want to take part in the rational decision making process. So this is a scientific definition of blockchain when it comes to exploring the scientific depth of the blockchain. So main keyword you need to highlight here is a decentralized database. A lot of people are having this confusion that this blockchain and cryptocurrency both are the same thing, like Bitcoin, Monero, Zcash, and blockchain, all these are same thing. No, these are not the same thing. So first ever application developed onto the blockchain related to the financial sector is the Bitcoin basically. Now you have the flexibility, you can develop long list of applications onto the blockchain. So we can say blockchain is a kind of a framework. Onto the top of that, you can develop multiple applications. If you explore, people have adopted the blockchain in the midday meal distribution in order to have the transparency in the system. People have adopted the blockchain in the supply chain management, electronic healthcare record system, or a lot of other applications that we are going to discuss in the later part of our presentation. So now let me take a very classical example and try to make all of you aware about that how exactly the blockchain technology works. So if I take an example of financial institution and I want to transfer 50,000 rupees from my account to Dr. Chaturvedi's account, then I have plenty of options are available. Okay, I can use Google Pay, Bheem app, Paytm, so many options are available. Let's say I want to use the traditional mechanism. I am having my account in Punjab National Bank and Dr. Chaturvedi is having his account in State Bank of India. Okay, so now the moment I have added his account to my Punjab National Bank account profile, after 2 hours, I am entitled to transfer the fund. So the moment I have selected, I have typed, let's say 50,000, enter the transaction password and enter the OTP. Now this request from the Punjab National Bank will go in a real sense where? It will not directly go to the State Bank of India server. It will go to the third party. Who is the third party? The third party is the payment gateway like PayU Atom. So that means in a traditional financial institution, transferring of fund or executing any transaction is solely dependent on the services provided by the payment gateways. Okay, so now that means third party is involved. Now, if I want to perform the same task using the blockchain, then how I can perform? Let me take a very quick tutorial just to understand, make all of you aware about how blockchain technology works. So let's say in a network, there are 4 individual, person X, person P, person Y, and person Z. All these 4 individuals, they are connected to each other. So they are connected to each other means that they are connected in a peer-to-peer manner, P2P network, okay? So that means they are having the centralized database instead of having the, decentralized database instead of having the centralized database. So let's say if I want to initiate the first transaction where person X want to transfer $50 to person Y. So this is a transaction between X to Y where X want to transfer $50 to Y. So now in a normal financial institution, come back to my example, my account is debited with 50,000 and Professor Chaturvedi's account is credited by 50,000. If in Punjab National Bank, there are more than 70,000 customers or in State Bank of India, there are more than 2 lakh customers, all the rest of the customers, they do not have any party to that. Only me and Dr. Chaturvedi are the party to this transaction. This is not happen in case of blockchain. Irrespective of it, whether X has transferred $50 to Y, but this information that X has transferred $50 to Y is captured by the P and Z also. How they are going to capture it? Because we are maintaining the decentralized database. So this is a ledger basically. Every individual node is going to maintain the decentralized ledger. And that is the reason why this blockchain technology is called the distributed ledger technology, DLT, because ledger is distributed among the multiple stakeholders. Now, if I want to initiate another transaction where person Y want to transfer, it is a transaction between Y to P. But this information that Y has transferred $30 to P is captured by X and Z also, irrespective of it, whether they are the parties to it or not. Why? Because later on, if P denies that, hey, Mr. X, I have not received any $30 from your side, how Mr. X, Y can convince to Mr. P that, hey, you see that I have transferred this much amount to you on this particular date. In a normal financial institution, we are having passbook. But here, where is the passbook? This ledger is the passbook. So this ledger is going to be referred in case of any conflict will arise. And based upon this ledger, we have to take the next step and we have to move forward. Okay. Now, moving to the next part, another transaction, if person X want to transfer $80 to person Y, Z, sorry. So this is not a valid transaction because she has already transferred $50 to Y and the remaining amount is only $50. So because of insufficient fund, this transaction is not a valid transaction. This happened in the normal financial institutions also, where whatever amount I am having in my account, I am only entitled to transfer that much amount to my fellow colleague or to whom I want to send. So in this particular example, in this particular tutorial, have you seen any involvement of the third party like payment gateways? There is a big no. It's an end-to-end transaction. Now, if it is an end-to-end transaction, then my next question is why the government of India has not adopted this blockchain technology to the financial institution like banking sector? The big problem is, in case in the normal circumstances, in a traditional way, RBI is the regulatory. Mahindra Bank, Yes Bank, and ICICI, SBI, they have already tested this blockchain network for the financial institution, successful trial. But the draft they have submitted to the government of India, and the draft is pending with the government of India. Government of India say that who will take the ownership of the entire network? Number one. Number two, who will be the regulatory? That is the reason recently our government of India, they have released this digital currency. Digital currency. It is not a virtual currency. It is not a, I can say, it is not a cryptocurrency. Basically, it's a digital currency. So you just need to open your digital wallet, and you need to use the instead of using the physical currency, you need to use the digital currency basically. But digital currency is somehow different from the cryptocurrency, where in the cryptocurrency no one have the monetary regulatory basically, but in case of digital currency, RBI remains to be the regulatory. So now this is the way how, in a very quick way, the blockchain technology works. Now let me take one. How many types of nodes are there in the blockchain? So in the blockchain, there are three types of node: mining node, miner node. So first question is, who is going to verify, validate, and authorize the transaction? So first category of node in the blockchain network is the miner node. So it is the responsibility of the miner node to authenticate, authorize, and audit all the transactions. Second type of node is the ledger node. So it is the duty of the ledger node to store entire history of all the transactions that are likely to occur or that have already occurred in your network, because later on these ledger nodes are going to be referred when you want to take the final decision. Third type of node is the normal node, which contains full copy of the complete blockchain. So this is the type of blockchain nodes possible when you want to establish your blockchain network. Now, how many types of blockchain network you can establish? You can establish three type of blockchain network. The first one is public, second one is private, and third one is consortium or federated. So if you refer the literature, this public blockchain, we can also call it as a permissionless blockchain. Why it is called permissionless? Because anyone can join the network at any instant of time. But in case of private, which we also call it as a permission blockchain, only the selected list of users or authorized user can join the network. No one else can join the network if you are not the party to that particular network. Or federated or consortium blockchain, where some group of companies, they are coming together, like government of India want to develop the Bharat blockchain. So where IIT Kanpur is leading under IIT Kanpur mission project, and everybody is trying to contribute to that particular project. So that is one of the best example of the consortium blockchain. Now, next question comes, on the basis of what I am going to select whether I should go with the public, private, or consortium blockchain. So it depends upon the application where you want to adopt the blockchain. So let's say the requirement of my application is I want that more number of transactions to be completed per unit time. So definitely I cannot go with the public blockchain because the transaction settlement ratio in case of public blockchain is slow because it's a completely permissionless blockchain. So I can go with the private blockchain, which is faster and lighter as compared to the public blockchain. So this is the way how you can decide that which type of blockchain you can adopt. Now, I personally believe that let me just move on to the implementation part, and then we will come back to this PPT again. Now, first thing is I will try to show you, let me just open the Ethereum blockchain explorer also. I believe that my Chrome browser is visible to all of you. Anyone can reply, please? My Chrome browser is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So now in this particular demo, we will, whatever theoretical stuff we have discussed, I will take two types of implementation we are going to see very quickly. First thing is the GUI based implementation. If someone wants to explore that, how the blockchain looks like, what is the architecture and structural point of view of blockchain, that we are going to see right now. After that, if someone try to see that, no, I want to develop my own blockchain right from the scratch, in Python or in Java, then how can I implement? So these two aspects we will see very quickly. And then again, we will come back to the PPT. So now, if I ask a question, how blockchain is going to preserve the privacy of the individuals? Because in case of blockchain, blockchain is using the hashing concept basically, where hash is a one-way function. If you know the hash, you cannot backtrack the identity of the individual. So long list of classical hashing algorithms are there, which people are using, like it start from MD1 to MD5, message digest 1 to message digest 5, and SHA to 51 to 256, long list of hashing algorithms. So in this particular demo, blockchain demo, they have used the SHA 256 hashing algorithm. So now if I am typing a sentence that I want to store inside the blockchain, Ram is a good boy, let's say, for example. Okay, so now have you seen that whatever I am typing, accordingly this hash is going to be changed? Why? Because at the back end of this particular demo, standard cryptographic SHA-256 algorithm is working. Okay, so now this is algorithm makes the blockchain a privacy preservation technique basically. Now what is there inside the block, how the block looks like? So this is just a demo of block. In case of block, if you want to create your own block, you have to assign the 4 attribute to that particular block. First thing is the block ID. You need to create block ID. Why the block ID is so important? Because consider a situation you are having 100 blocks. How can you differentiate one block from the other block? So in order to differentiate one block from the other block, there is a requirement to have the block ID. Now data, what kind of data you want to store inside the block that you are going to create, whether it's a textual data, what kind of data. Hash, what is the hash of this particular block? That hash of this particular block, it is going to be generated using the SHA-256 algorithm. And what is this nonce? Nonce is used in the blockchain as one of the attribute just to avoid the chances of the replay attack. It is just like that I am observing that someone is following me since last 1 week, that which path I will take from going from IIMT University to my home, Meerut, Kent home. Then how can I confuse and the person want to attack onto me? I don't know the date and day. How can I confuse the attacker? How can I confuse that particular criminal? I can change my path, even though the day will come when that particular criminal want to attack onto me, even though he's not aware about it, that which path I'm going to follow today. So same is the case here, that how will you restrict the attacker? That attacker is not going to use the same communication channel. For that purpose, the implementer of this blockchain demo, they have used the nonce just to confuse them and avoid the chances of the replay attack. Now, if we are having multiple blocks, then how these multiple blocks are linked to each other? So in this particular demo, if you see how many blocks we are having, 5 block 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now how these 5 blocks are linked to each other? Why there is a requirement of linking one block to another block? If we are not linking one block to another block, then it is just look like that all blocks are separated to each other. And this is not the basic prerequisite requirement of blockchain, because structure of blockchain is like that. We are having single blockchain. Inside the single blockchain, we are having multiple blocks. Inside the multiple block, we are having multiple transactions. Each transaction will have its own hash. Each block will have its own hash. Okay, so how this block number 1 and block number 2 are connected to each other? How this block number 1 and block number 2 are connected to each other? If you see the previous hash field of the block number 2, this hash field is exactly similar to the hash field of the block number 1. I am reading the first few alphabets, 4 times 0 15783B, and here you can see 4 times 0 15783B. this is the prerequisite requirement that the next block will store the hash of the previous block. Okay, so this is the way how it's a very old concept of data structure linked list. So this blockchain demo, Nakamoto has used this concept of linked list when it comes to associating the one block with the another block. Okay, so now how can I assign these different blocks to the different peers? So like you could take an example. I want to adopt the blockchain in healthcare sector. I want to write the complete program dashboard I want to design. Now in that particular way, you can see there is a diversity in the healthcare sector. There is a separate class of doctors, paramedical staff, nurses, and then admin staff. So that means you need separate blockchain for each and every identity. So how can you assign the different blocks to the different peers, I can say. So this concept in the blockchain, we can call it a distributed blockchain. How the blocks are distributed to the different peers. So like in this particular demo, the implementer, they have used the three peer A, peer B, and peer C. How many blocks are assigned to each and every peer? 5 blocks are assigned to each and every peer. Rest of the thing I have already explained to you in our previous discussion. So this is just a blockchain demo in order to make you aware that how the blockchain looks like, what is the internal architecture of the blockchain, and what is the different attributes of the blockchain. Now, if someone want to see the actual blockchain, so let me just open this Ethereum Etherscan Explorer in front of you. I believe that Etherscan Explorer is visible to all of you. This is a etherscan.io. It's a blockchain, Ethereum blockchain explorer. Now, if you go to this particular explorer and I want to see this transaction, latest transaction, okay? So have you revealed the identity of any individual? This transaction is between Sudeep and Dr. Chaturvedi. No, name are not mentioned here. Only the encoded IDs are mentioned here, and these encoded ID, I can call it as a hash basically. Okay, so that's the way this blockchain is going to preserve the privacy of the individual. Now, if once I click over that particular data, then it shows to me what? It shows me that this particular transaction, what is the hash of the transaction? This is the hash of the transaction. What is the status of the transaction? The transaction is successful. How many blocks are mined? So these are the number of blocks mined that in this particular blockchain, these many blocks are already added. Okay, this is the block ID, I can say. Timestamp 8 minutes ago. This is the timestamp this block is created. This block contains the transaction between Ram to Shyam. So I'm just calling the name, but we cannot backtrack the identity of the individual. This is the beauty of blockchain. And that is the reason how it preserves the privacy of the individual. How much transaction fees to be paid if I want to commit my transaction? Transaction means what? Storing some data or maybe retrieving some information. All these are to be considered as a kind of a transaction. Now, in this particular actual blockchain explorer, Ethereum blockchain explorer, have you recalled the identity of any individual? No, you cannot get the identity of the individual. Okay, so now coming back to our PPTs. Now, potential applications of blockchain pertaining to the national interest. So let's say after attending this particular session, all of you are very much fascinating in adopting the blockchain in your different verticals. So government, I advise all of you, please refer the 2 documents released by the Government of India, Niti Aayog and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MIT. So they have already released 2 documents where they have highlighted the vision of Government of India for adopting the blockchain in the different verticals, where this slide is very, very important for all of you to understand, because government has already given these key areas and every key area is very unique. If I want to talk about on these areas, it will take at least 4 hours to only come to the problem statement. I will tell you about 2 to 3. Like transfer of land records. In India, we are facing a lot of troubles when it comes to proving the ownership of your land. Number of times you are going to prove the ownership of your land. Okay, and same land, same plot in the past sale to multiple individuals. This will create a conflict. It will go to the court, third party. Again, it will take time. So government want to establish a kind of a decentralized transfer of land record registry basically, where, and that is the first step, that if you visit any tehsil, in every tehsil or subdivisional office, this digitization process either over or it is going on, because this is the first prerequisite requirement of adopting the blockchain, that every documentation, whether it is a sajra, it is a map, whether it is a khatoni or khasra, everything is to be digitized. So second application that government has identified is the certificate management, whether it is a death, birth, or educational certificate. Recently, all of you have already observed that a lot of universities, they are conducting nowadays blockchain based certificates, like CBSC. Last year, CBSC released the result of 10th and 12th, and they store all their mark sheet of the students for the verification purpose onto the blockchain, and they are giving the, very soon they are going to give the a kind of a encoded ID to the student, and you go to the CBSE portal and enter your encoded ID, your entire mark sheet will come. So you take a very simple example and very good example of Estonia. Estonia is a very small country of European Union, but they have transferred their entire government services onto the blockchain, where they do not need to student need not to submit any kind of mark sheet to any employer. Employer can fetch the data based upon the rights given to them, and but country like India, 130 crore, 140 crore plus population, this huge amount of data, in case of any theft will occur, who will take the ownership? So that's the way government need to come up with a kind of a decentralized certificate management system, where everything is transparent, everything is available to all. Anyone can, after paying certain amount of fees, will get the required document. No need to visit to the physical place for getting the certificates, and very soon it is going to be the reality. Pharmaceutical supply chain is also one of the promising applications. E-notary, in notary also a lot of forgery happen, where people have some group because of gaining the popularity or because of the corruption, they have printed their own notary, okay, notarized documents. But government want to develop blockchain enabled e-sign solutions, including the digital signature as a technology, that they want to make this possible. Now farm insurance, in case of insurance sector also, in the era of COVID also, a lot of forgery we have seen, where people not expired, but because they want to take the benefit. So a lot of cases, people not admitted to the hospital, but with some involvement of the hospital authorities and the person, they prepared the false proof and the claim is settled. So that's the way government want to establish the decentralized insurance settlement framework. All these are very promising applications: duty management, agriculture, then e-voting. E-voting means you are sitting at your home, and by using the portal, you can vote only single time, and it will recognize you by your iris or by your biometric, whatever mechanism they want to use. So government want to use the blockchain based e-voting system, and Election Commission of India is working in this direction. In Germany, they have already adopted this blockchain as a part of voting mechanism when it comes to developing the entire framework. Electronic healthcare record management system. So this is a very promising application, and we have already contributed in this application in association with the Brunel University, UK, and we developed the complete dashboard and framework for the record management system pertaining to blockchain. And this is our one of the top cited article, more than 620, I believe, 620 citations this article already received, and this was one of the top cited article published in the Journal of Information Security and Application, elsewhere SC Index Journal. So what is the meaning of electronic healthcare record? In India, we are following the personal healthcare record system. What is PHR? It is just like that I am living in Ahmedabad. Let's say after several years, I believe that I want to shift to the Delhi because of some transport or other reason. Then I settled at Delhi, and the day will come I encounter any disease and I visit any doctor at Delhi. Then the doctor at Delhi will treat me right from the scratch. Okay. So because there is no system in India where my record living at Ahmedabad will shift to the doctors at Delhi. So, but if you consider such kind of system, we can call it as a PHR. Now, what is EHR? Electronic Healthcare Record System. It is just like that. If you take an example of European Union, you are living in, let's say, Warsaw, capital of Poland, and for whatever reason you want to shift to the, you want to shift to what? You want to shift to, let's say, for example, you want to shift to, let's say, for example, the let's say the Germany, and then in that particular case, Germany doctor is not going to treat you right from the scratch, but Germany doctor is having your entire record, and when the encoded ID is entered from your side, then entire information since your birth will appear. But country like India, having 140 crore plus population, managing this huge amount of data is going to create a big trouble. Who will take the ownership of this data? So now these are couple of applications in national interest, where government is already thinking to adopt the blockchain, and government need the support from the academia and industry. So all these are very promising applications, very novel applications like chit fund and micro finance for self-help group, SHG, public service delivery, or IoT device management and security. So now let me just share the key challenges with all of you. These are the key takeaways. If you are willing to work in the area of blockchain, then what are the areas which are promising areas where researchers are working nowadays? The first takeaway is blockchain throughput, because every researcher is nowadays, or every company is working on this principle that how we are going to settle the maximum number of transactions per second. Because sometime in order to complete your transaction, you have to wait for hours. Okay, so this is the first takeaway. Second takeaway is, with the inception of 5G network recently in some of the cities of India, this 5G setup is also going to generate huge amount of data, and the processing of this huge amount of data is sometimes very typical, very stringent at the end of the regulatories. So because this 5G is using various services like your data sharing, resource management, or transaction monitoring, so conventional systems are not going to help here. You need to devise some system which are going to reduce the overall computational burden of the entire system. So this is the second takeaway. Third takeaway is, even though blockchain is going to provide the security, but if you just Google it, attacker started attacking onto the blockchain itself also. Okay, so there are several security issues related to blockchain. One such issue is because blockchain is using the concept of consensus mechanism. It is just like that resolving the conflict. Okay, if you are going to get more than 51% of the share, then maybe there are chances that the attacker can get the access of your system. So how you are going to restrict the attacker is not going to get the access of your system? What kind of policies you are going to devise for the same? This is the third takeaway. Fourth takeaway is because resource constraints and allocation, because blockchain requires computation on the transaction before it is accepted or rejected. So sometime it is not feasible for all the nodes to verify that particular transaction to take part in the mining round. So this is also one of the challenge. And the last challenge that I want to pose in front of you is the energy efficiency. Across globe, people are working on this issue, very crucial issue. Because of the 5G is increasing the energy consumption. Blockchain itself use more power because of the consensus mechanism. Altogether, if I want to develop the system blockchain enabled 5G solution, then it is going, this also consumes energy, this also consumes energy. So this is an open problem for all of you. how you are going to develop the blockchain based 5G network solution. So this is all that I want to share with all of you. So last word that I want to share with all of you, if anything I have said seems useful to you, I am happy. If not, don't worry, just forget all about it. This was said by Honorable Dalai Lama. But in my context, I have changed it. If anything I have said seems useful to you, I am happy. If not, don't worry, soon all become necessity for all of us, because in the rapid change of technology, we cannot sit silently. So once again, thank you very much to Professor Chaturvedi and the entire team of IIMT University for inviting me to share my view related to the blockchain technology. Sometimes it is very difficult for the speaker also to cover the entire concept about a particular technology, but in our 50-minute session we have discussed the theoretical stuff of blockchain also, and we consider one of the demonstration and tutorial also. So that's all from my side. Over to the organizer. If participants are having some query, then forum is open for the query. Yeah. Let me check the chat box. So let me stop share here. Yeah. Any one of you have any doubt, please ask.
Hello.
Yes.
A participant, if you have any doubt, you can ask
Good
with our
afternoon,
expert.
sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I'm Shivani Pandey from CS department.
Yes,
Right
please.
now, I'm studying blockchain for my PhD. So I
Okay.
just had a query that though blockchain creates a lot of data and multiple blocks are being created in a chain, so is there any methodology we can adapt to focus on the targeted block when we want to further add a chain? And how we can reduce the number of blocks in a particular chain?
No, people have now, see, blockchain is a very costly affair, because blockchain is going to increase the cost of your solution. Now, people have started using this off-chain based storage mechanism. What is this off-chain based storage mechanism? No need to dump the entire data onto the blocks and these blocks to the blockchain. Rather than dumping the data onto the blockchain, you just save the hash pertaining to that particular block onto the blockchain. The moment you need that particular data, you just need to have the hash of that particular block. Okay. So earlier people have used this on-chain based storage where they are dumping the entire data onto the blockchain. So my advice to you is you just explore the off-chain based mechanism where IPFS is there. Interplanetary file system is one of the protocol which the researchers are using to reduce the cost of entire solution. Okay. Such kind of systems you can use in order to reduce the overall cost of your solution. And coming to the transaction, because in a block, if you keep because ultimate research is how many more number of transactions you can accommodate per unit time. Okay, so that is the research is going on in this particular direction. Yeah. But I will tell you that in case of blockchain, the hype is more, but the reality is very less. It is not only that blockchain is going to do miracle for all the applications, but for some of the applications, blockchain is going to contribute a lot. But some of the systems are there which we can use, or we can use the centralized system. They are giving us the best result. So people are framing out nowadays hybrid solutions where some of the tasks, if delay is not a foremost parameter for me, I can use the centralized system also. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Other participant, they want to ask any question related to the blockchain technology. They can ask their queries to our expert.
Yeah. If you.
Okay.
Yeah. Please, please.
Thank you, sir, for delivering such a nice talk on blockchain technology, and you have covered various topics, including nodes and types of blockchain demo, including Ether arcane and privacy techniques of blockchain, and very nicely covered the application of blockchain. And at the end, you also give an idea about the future challenges in blockchain technology, including throughput calculation. And I would like to invite our Honorable Dean Sir, Professor Yatendra Chaturvedi Sir, to deliver the vote of thanks for today's session.
Hello. हाँ, अतुल जी. अतुल जी.
Professor. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. अतुल जी, I am audible.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
ठीक है, ठीक है. Session हो गया, complete हो गया सारा ये.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
So I should project my vote of thanks ना. Or any
Yes,
other.
sir.
Oh, okay.
Complete. And for vote of thanks,
Okay.
I would like to invite you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I think the session was very beautifully delivered by Dr. Sudeep Kanwarji. I think Sudeep Kanwarji is the great name in this area of the blockchain technology, and he is currently working as professor in the Nirma University. And I think all the presentation and all the answers given by Dr. Sudeep Kanwarji in this area was beautifully presented. And I think all of the participants of this attendee, all the participants, in my opinion, they have benefited with this area. So I thanks to Dr. Sudeep Kanwarji, who accepted our invitation and gave a beautiful content of delivery on this area of the blockchain technology. In the last, I give my sincere thanks to all the participants who attended this FDP and listened this session very peacefully. So once again, I thank Dr. Sudeep Kanwarji. You have accept our invitation and give a very nice content of the delivery on your topic. So on behalf of the IIMT University, I, Dr. Yatendra Chaturvedi, working in the capacity of the Dean Engineering, give my sincere thanks to Dr. Sudeep Kanwarji. Kanwar sir, namaskar sir, please accept
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
Thank you all the participants for carefully listening. Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you.
Thank you all of you. Have a good day. Thank you.
So the session is finally the meeting.
Hello.
हो गया लीजिए सर
Thank you.